All right, so since we are close to the projected release date for ESBC, I wanted to do a good comprehensive review going back to the beginning where to kind of bring it back up to where we are now. So I know there's still a lot of you out there who have a lot of questions, stuff that was covered like months ago. So for anybody who is kind of like new joining, I kind of want to do this for y'all. Any of my old heads that's been around, that's been following the channel for a while, people like Warrior, Path, like, OGs, shout outs, to y'all. You guys can skip towards the middle or the end of this video. But I really did want to go back. And like I said, I say projected. Y'all couldn't see me when I said it, but big air quotes on that. And I have my concerns like a lot of you when it comes to the release date, but I'm just not a negative dude like that by nature. So, but I will cover it. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so for anyone who didn't know, this is what ESBC originally looked like. Now, I believe this trailer released somewhere around about mid to late April of this year. And this was also around the time that I actually started looking into the game. I hadn't made any videos yet, but I knew about it. ESBC had been in development since like 2019. And at the time, one of the only new boxing releases that was being talked about was Mike Tyson's virtual boxing. And we all know that it didn't really go well. So, and I don't want to say, by the way, Mike Tyson virtual boxing fooled the world. Turns out it was meant to be like a casino, like gambling game. So, but the graphics on it were amazing. So after that, my expectations for ESBC wasn't really the highest. So then comes June 23rd of this year. That is the day that really put ESBC on the map as kind of the heir apparent to Fight Night. So this was the day of the famous Johnny Nelson release trailer and the original plans for what ESBC would ultimately is working to become. So David Caldwell was dropping little hints a few days earlier about what was coming. Like things were really picking up, and I mean at a quick pace in a short amount of time. Steel City had released all of their current plans for the game at the time, RPG mechanics. They had dropped a short roster, and most importantly, they had linked up with 1024, who had not long come off of making one of the most visually striking games that we really had seen on consoles or PCs really in Death Stranding. So I, like most people, were blown out of the water after seeing and hearing the news and seeing the jump the game had made in really only about 2 months time. 2 months later, so you all starting to see a 2-month trend here. So 2 months later, I got my invite from the Steel City team to cover the game at the 58th annual WBC event. So by this point, they had already announced that they had backing from the WBC, the British Boxing Board of Control, and a few other sanctioning bodies to kind of help push the game so they can have tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So I got invited to the 58th annual WBC event. I even got my own little custom glove and stuff from the event. It's got my name on it. Pretty dope. Steel City was there doing interviews and answering questions, and they dropped quite a few nuggets about the tournament system and how a real WBC belt was on the line and how the belt would be mailed out to you as the champion for you to keep. I had never heard nothing like that before, and I know nobody else had ever heard anything like that before. So you can imagine the hype was just like, by this point, it was just in complete like overdrive. So they had mentioned briefly that they had tons of licenses in the works for future fighters to add into the game, but didn't really give fighter names. We got the opportunity to see how they sculpted like some of the legendary fighters of the past, and they dropped the first alpha gameplay trailer on us. Now fast forward to November the 10th of this year. On this day, we all got the alpha movement trailer, and this is where the game got great praise and also got a good deal of criticism. So no one really can deny that the trailer graphically looked amazing. Multiple fighter images had been released up to this point, so we really knew what to expect when it came to the graphics. The trailer delivered on in-game movement superbly. right? Conor Ben was moving around the ring very smooth and pretty much effortlessly. But the criticism came from the punches that were being thrown in the trailer. Now, in the previous Alpha trailer, the punches looked really smooth. But in the movement trailer, we found out that the punches were really just placeholders, which led to a lot of people believing that the punches weren't quite yet close to perfect. So it did raise some concern. And up to this point, most of the released fighters were heavily UK fighters. So the community is out there screaming, I want Deontay Wilder, I want Canelo, I want Floyd Mayweather, and Terrence Crawford. And this kind of takes us to where we are now. We know a lot about the game. Things like boxer share, character development, and the career mode. We know the game will come out in early access mode, or as I have been saying, a form of beta mode, and I completely understand why. The developers want to get the game to a place where it's worth your full dollar. I will 100% agree with that. So I do not knock them for that at all. So, and let me just say that the amount of work and the amount of progression that they have made on this game in this short amount of time, if they pushed the game back to me, I would not be upset. So I'm comfortable with a partial boxing game, seeing as we haven't had one in 10 years. My big concern is the recent lack of community interaction in the past few weeks. The team has gotten very quiet, and we are really close to the projected date, which is still listed as to be determined. So developers, if you are watching, and look, I know y'all have paid the Coach's Corner a couple of visits. My question to you is, are we going to reach the late in and around Christmas release for PC access? If not, let us know. If so, how long can we expect ESBC to stay in beta format? And are we going to see all the fighters we want? Okay. My dream matchup has always been Floyd Mayweather versus Andre Ward in some magical weight class. But will I get the opportunity to make that happen? And more importantly, will the community be able to make their boxing dreams come true? So I hope to get some answers soon. I appreciate you all coming back to the Coach's Corner. The release is close, and I suspect that we will hear something very soon. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you all on the next video. I'm out.